All right, that was quite disappointing, but interesting, and something that gave you hope until it took it away. I guess that's how I'd like to describe the second day's play between India and England. I mean, what struck out? Okay, what's obvious is that Bumrah is not human. Okay, so let's put that aside. Apart from that, I'm really surprised about the lack of teeth of the Indian bowling. I mean, these are the same guys who played very well some time back. Prasidh Krishna was amazing in the IPL, and it's not that he bowled badly here either. Okay, so I remember when Prasidh Krishna first came in, there was serious like discomfort with the bounce that he was able to get off a good length, and the English batters really took some time to get used to him. So I don't want to say that was it just bad luck. I'm not sure it was just bad luck, but definitely there were a lot of very good balls from both Prasidh and Siraj that beat the bat. You know, definitely they beat the bat. They created chances, but at the same time, they gave away a lot of boundary balls. Sure, the English batting was at a fast tempo as expected. Sure, they took their chances as expected, but I don't know if the field placements really helped. Maybe sure, they did have a sweeper out to both these guys pretty early on, especially to Ben Duckett. That definitely helped curb the number of runs. But maybe a little bit more of an ODI kind of field, I think would have been a little bit better. You know, so I feel okay. It's the first day of Gill as a captain. You know, I don't want to be all judgmental on him, and there really isn't much to be judgmental. But you could feel that he was kind of letting the game drift a bit. The bowlers weren't in control, and I think that's a time when I think as a captain you need to create that control via your field placements, via a plan, and I feel that is what sometimes was kind of missing. Maybe also the fact that they were constantly looking up to Big Brother Bumrah. We'll talk about Bumrah in a second, right? Because I think talking about Bumrah will mask the inadequacy of the remaining bowlers. Someone who was very very disappointing was the Lord Shardul Thakur. Um, is it short of match practice? Does he look fit enough? I think, and the guy who doesn't look all that fit actually is Mohammad Siraj. I'm surprised. Mohammad Siraj was very fit, and I feel he's like bulked on, not necessarily put on weight, but he's definitely a lot bigger. And you know the way Siraj runs into ball and the way he reaches the crease, I think that tells a lot about what his rhythm is. And I didn't feel that he had like perfect rhythm. You know, I felt he was kind of cheesed off. Let me put it that way. The first few overs he bowled, just wasn't able to get it right. His spell got cut short. You know, then he was replaced by Prasidh Krishna, who had a decent, good spell. I think the second spell that Siraj came on, he was definitely much better, but he just wasn't quite in his element. And you just felt that because Bumrah was so good at one end and constantly asking questions, you just felt somebody else to just keep it tight. Maybe they should have just bowled Jaddu for 45 overs. Constantly from one side and have the other guys operate. I mean, that's also a possibility. But there was lack of penetration from Siraj and Prasidh, and definitely lack of anything at all from Shardul Thakur. So I feel India is playing with 8 players basically this whole tournament, this whole match. I don't feel Shardul Thakur is going to contribute much. I don't feel Sai Sudarshan is going to contribute much. I hope he does in the second innings. And I don't feel Karun Nair is going to contribute much. I hope he does in the second innings. So there's a lot of questions more than answers. And if not for Bumrah, this would have made an extremely sorry state of affairs on day 2. So let's talk about Bumrah. See, I'm not going to get into analyzing how he set up the batsman or what kind of bowls he bowled and stuff like that. But let's just talk about his temperament. So I think Bumrah is very clear. He gets 3 matches. He's going to go all out in those 3 matches, and I think it was very clear since day one in his mind that he is the superstar. He is the rock star, and he's the guy who's going to make things happen. So when you have that kind of mentality, I think when you start bowling with that kind of mentality, your thought process is different. Your thought process is not how do I contain him, not how do I make him stop, not how do I cut this shot. The process is how do I get him out. I think this is something which the other bowlers did not have. And did they not have it because they thought, okay, my job is keeping my end tight so that Bumrah does his job? See, the moment that, if that is the case, the moment that happened, then they've kind of undermined themselves, right? So, yeah. So anyway, so Bumrah is, I don't know how to put it in words. Bumrah is on a different league altogether over here, isn't he? And it's just a game of margins, just few margins. There was a LBW of Ben Duckett, a review taken that was lost, and there was a Yorker. I think just one stump on that side, and he would have been out. Okay. Then, of course, there was a no ball towards the end, which was barely a no ball, little bit behind, 1 inch behind, he would have been out. Then, of course, there was the drop catches. Jaddu dropping a catch. I've never seen in my life Jaddu dropping a catch. Yashasvi Jaiswal dropping a catch 2 times. Once of Ben Duckett and once of Ollie Pope. And it was just not a day to be, and perhaps it was also not a day to be so that the test becomes more interesting. You never know. We started off the day on a great note. I think both Gill and Pant were at their dominating best. Pant definitely, I'm surprised. I mean, I didn't know this. I knew he was a good batter in test matches and everything, but he's now got 700s and guess this, 7 scores in 90s. So if you take 90 and 100, he's got 14 centuries. I mean, okay, it's not 14, it's 7 90s and 7 hundreds. And that's pretty crazy and pretty radical. Also, I don't know why he's getting out in the 90s so much. But anyway, nonetheless, the point is, he really is becoming a good batsman in Test cricket, isn't he? I mean, he's kind of a egg on the face of all those people who say that this is how you need to play with a technique and this is how you need to play with a, stance and this is the kind of shots you want to play. I mean, he's like basically telling to all the coaches out there, go to hell. People should stick to what they feel is best. And everybody say he's an effervescent player. No, he has no rules. He plays by his own rules and all that stuff. I disagree. I really think that he does have, his own rules, sure, but he definitely plays according to the situation. So I don't want to say that it's just always playing crazy shots. I don't feel that. I feel even his crazy shots actually have a lot of risk that is less, according to him, according to the way he sees it. For example, when he sees a slip, right, and he sees, he doesn't see anyone in third man, he's okay falling down as long as the ball goes behind there, right? So I think when you saw it the first couple of times, you'd feel, okay, he's taking undue risk. But then now the more you see it, you begin to feel, okay, that is his shot. That is what he knows, what he's doing, and he can do it well. Of course, when he tries to do the same shot and the ball takes the leading edge and instead of going to third man, it goes to long on for a 4, then you can't hold the same logic. Then you just have to feel, okay, the guy is just being cheeky and getting away with it. But apart from that, you can't really say that a guy has been so consistent in Test cricket and consistently getting you big runs when the rest of the team is failing. Okay, in this instance, the team didn't fail. But the time when he got his 14 scores of 90s and 100s, the rest of the team didn't have a great time. All said and done. The rest of the team was really struggling batting-wise when Pant was doing so well. So, Pant is the kind of guy who takes the pitch out of the equation, he takes the weather out of the equation, he takes the bowler out of the equation. So that kind of a player with that kind of mentality has a big impact. Someone was saying that he's playing T20 kind of cricket in Test matches. No, I completely disagree. He's not playing T20 cricket in Test matches. He's playing his own game. And his own game is this. I think that is something that's very key over here to understand, that his game is perceived to be a high-risk game, but those are the shots that he's practicing. And those are the shots which he believes will give him good things. And I think most important about Pant is he's got a very solid defense. Something which I feel people don't really acknowledge a lot is his defense is among the best defenses in the world. When he doesn't want to bat, when he wants to dead bat the ball, it's over. Dead bat it is. Shubman Gill also played very well. I felt he also again left about 30-40 runs out there. Unnecessary shot to get to 150. Just should have been a little bit more patient. I mean, I guess the importance of that daddy 100, of that big, huge 100, which kind of really stamps the authority on the match, which doesn't let the match away. This is something you should learn from the Australians. I'm talking about Australians from early 2000s when Matthew Hayden, um, Ricky Ponting, Michael Slater, these guys, Michael Clark, these guys used to make 100, Adam Gilchrist, these guys used to make hundreds that took the match beyond the reach of the opposition. That is the kind of 100 you need to make. You need to be ruthless. I think that ruthless mentality is a mentality, and once you have that mentality, then only it comes in. You notice all these Indian guys, we get to 100 and then we feel 130, 140 is a very good score. It's not a good score. It's a very good score, but it's not a match-winning score, especially in test matches. 180, 190 is a match-winning score. I think that is a change in mentality we need to start getting. Even Pant, I didn't feel he was upset at getting at 130, getting out at 130. Why aren't you insisting you want to get to 170, 180? If you get to 170, 180, if you get in the 30, 40 runs, everybody else gets about 40, 50 runs, you've got about 100 runs more. And you put the match beyond the reach of the opposition. But that is not what you're doing. I think that is something definitely we need to change our attitude over there towards big hundreds. But yeah, first, okay, let's kind of rewind because I'm kind of going all over the place over here. So the first thing is the batting. India really squandered its chances, didn't it? I mean, it really had a position to just bat. It had a chance to be in a position to bat England out of the game. But they just squandered it away. And I don't know why, but they went for too many extravagant shots. Be it Gill trying to smash a 6 when he was 146 or 144 or whatever it was. There was no reason to do that. You came down the track. Sure, you weren't able to get to the pitch of the ball. Knock it around. No, why do you have to still go ahead with your shot? And anyway, so the ball was supposed to go to long on and try and dragged it to square leg, so he was just off and unnecessary risk. And okay, sure, Rishabh Pant looked cute taking a few risks, but I felt it was one risk too many. Was India content with the 450 score? Did they not want to go to 550? I feel that was also the case. Maybe India was just determined in saying, okay, we're going to get to 450 but not 550. And if it 550 comes, well and good, but we're going to aim for 450. I kind of felt that was kind of the mindset and that was thinking, because right up until 450, I felt both of them were very much in control. I think 430 or something, both of them were very much in control. And then suddenly this kind of squandered it away. And once again, Karun Nair getting out was, I wouldn't say against run of play, but definitely he looked out of sorts, right? So not just that ball that he faced, but just a couple of balls before also. Just same like Sai Sudarshan, I felt the nerves of the occasion just kind of got to him. Again, at this level, you'd feel that maybe something a little bit more mature, more composed was required. But again, Ben Stokes, genius bowler, he kind of understood the situation, understood the player, and just kind of left one out loose. He was on zero. He knew he was waiting to get off the mark. So yele dolly, just out there tempting him, and sure enough, Karun Nair falls with the bait. Ben Stokes is just too intelligent a player. If you have a weakness, he's going to pick it out with a toothpick and make full utilization of it. So he understood the nervousness that both Sai Sudarshan and Karun Nair had, and to both of them, he had a clear plan, and he kind of bowled very innocuous balls to the average batter, but to both of them, wicket-taking balls. So I think that battle was lost in the head, not so much on the pitch. For both of them versus Ben Stokes. Then, of course, Jaddu was someone I was really looking forward to. Remember, yesterday's podcast, I said Jaddu is the one who's going to hold one end tight, and he'll be the key guy responsible for India getting that 50-60 extra runs towards the end. So, did he take his chances too late? I felt he did. Maybe the moment Shardul came in, he should have started taking his chances. I think we're giving a bit too much of respect to Bumrah, Siraj and Prasidh Krishna's batting. The moment, okay, even if Shardul got out, start your chances with Bumrah. Why are you letting him take the strike? Why aren't you farming the strike? Why aren't you going for shots? I think we need to kind of pay attention to the fact that the last three batters really aren't great batters. Sure, there was a match or two where they kind of really, batter out their skins, but that's not going to happen on a day-to-day basis. So Jaddu was definitely a disappointment. Even the shot he got out to, if he was getting out to an attacking shot also, I'll understand, but you're running it down to third man for what? For a single? For a single, you want to take such a risk? So I'm not sure. I think also the pitch definitely played a part. More than the pitch, the conditions played a part. I think towards the second half of I think towards the end of the first session, towards the lunch break, there was definite cloud build-up, and things got a little bit more spicy. Josh Tongue came into the equation, was able to get nice bounce of the pitch, nice zip of the pitch, something that you didn't really see in the first innings. It's not that he bowled great, by the way. Okay, I still maintain what I said in the first innings, that barring Ben Stokes, the whole English bowling is horrible, and so that's why I have full confidence that this series they are facing an upward battle. But nonetheless, you'd still think that we were capable, definitely, of doing a lot more, and we kind of squandered a chance. Even before our bowling started, I felt we squandered a chance to be in a dominating position. At least about 75 to 100 runs we kind of left out there. So if each of the batters, said, okay, I'm going to contribute 10 more, that's about 70, 75 runs, and about 10, 20 more from Jaddu would have been all the difference. But that wasn't to be the case. And once we started bowling, there really wasn't anything surprising in the way England went about their batting. I should say that Bumrah's spells were the most drool-worthy spells I've watched in cricket. I don't know if it's because I'm a Bumrah fan, if it's because the whole world is talking about Bumrah at this time, where everything he bowls seems like a pataka that's waiting to explode. But really, the guy was operating on a different level. His rhythm, his control, his plan, his execution was just top-notch. I've never seen that kind of control that one particular bowler had over a match situation in ever. I've seen Wasim Akram bowl, I've seen Shoaib Akhtar bowl, and there have been times when they've been ordinary, when you could say, okay, this spell chalega. But Bumrah is not like that. Every time he comes, something is happening. And like I said, it's a game of margins. England could easily have been 230 for 5 or 230 for 6. I'll guarantee you that. They definitely had the rub of the green on their side. They had that luck, which sometimes comes. You never know when it comes, when it doesn't come. But they definitely had that luck. Still, I am hopeful that England will fall short of the first innings target by about 120, 130, hopefully. And then the second innings becomes very important, doesn't it? Because don't discount this England team on the fourth innings. Bumrah or no Bumrah, this England team is going to put up a serious fight when it comes to batting in the fourth innings, and I think we need to be very aware of that, right? And the other bowlers need to step up, guys. Come on. If you take Bumrah out of the situation here, and whom are you going to get in? You're going to get in a Harshit Rana, or you're going to get in a Kuldeep Yadav. God, it's going to be scary what's going to happen without Bumrah. In the second and I think he's going to play the first, second and fourth, if I'm not wrong, and he won't play the third and the fifth. So you never know what's going to happen, but fingers crossed for tomorrow. Hopefully we're going to do a good job and pick up a few cheap wickets initially, put the pressure back on them, and even if they have a partnership or two, as long as we get a lead of about 100, 150, I think we're in a very good space in the match. So kind of a short thing here today, because I couldn't get to see the last part of the chase of the match. Actually, just watched the last part in highlights. But today I'm home, and we're going to give it a proper shot. See you guys till tomorrow.